After I think I got it. All right, welcome to the first live we've ever had on this channel. So this should be fun. So I went through and I scripted a video. We're gonna see how this goes. So yeah. Disney and Disney Pixar movie characters as zodiac signs. So I got to rewatch a bunch of Disney and Pixar movies, which honestly, how fun is that? And then got to write down my opinion of which ones fit what zodiac sign. So I feel this pretty cool. The camera's up too high, and it looks like I'm staring off into space. So, welcome to the first ever live. So, Disney Pixar characters as zodiac signs. So, how I did this in this little disclaimer, this is my personal opinion after rewatching all these movies and figuring out which ones I thought belonged to the traits of which the zodiac signs are. And that doesn't mean that because I pick, like, if your sign is on here and you don't like the character, kind of like Terry on here from Soul, that doesn't mean the character actually defines you. I put some movie villains in here. So I don't want anyone to get offended, but that's okay if you do. But let's do this. So these are just my personal opinions. So the first one on this list is Joe Gardner. So my style of writing this out changes. At the beginning, I put their names first and then their star sign, but then I start doing star sign and then the people. So yeah, you guys are going to have to tell me in the comments what movie or what show you want me to put zodiac signs to. I am going to redo the whole Soul thing, and they're going to be just Soul characters. Can gave me that idea. But first off, we have Joe Gardner from Soul. So while I was watching the movie, I wrote down some traits and then later on looked through the zodiac signs and I was like, oh, that's so cool. So he's a middle school teacher, middle school band teacher, and he wants to be a jazz musician instead. In the beginning of the movie, he's very selfish to what he wants. After he dies, he's not quite dead. He doesn't want to go into the great beyond, so he cuts through this wall and falls into the great before, aka the youth seminar, which that's the joke. They changed it from the great before. And they make this joke that your brain makes you forget that before you go to Earth. And I thought that was so cute. But he gets selfish and jealous for the fact that he wants the soul's little earth patches. They have little earth patches that sit about here and they tell you their traits and characteristics of what they do. And once it's completely filled out, it has a picture of the earth and it gets them back to Earth, gets them to Earth to get a body. So Joe is all like, yeah, I want that. I want that from them. So he wants it. He meets 22. He takes one of the little name cards because they assume he's one of the mentors, which he's not. And he thinks he's Borgestein. They think he's Borgestein, and 22 is a girl or a them. They don't quite have genders. But he finds 22 and tells 22 basically. I call her she through the entire thing. Oh, who's she played by? Tina Fey, I think. Well, anyway, I wrote she for the entire thing. I have no idea. But tells her that he's not Borgenstein, and she figures it out, and she helps him. And then towards the end of the movie, he realizes, wow, I overthought this way too much. And he gets really stressed and gets anxiety over wanting to perform with Dorothea Williams, who is very popular and famous in the movie. And ultimately becomes very anxious of that. So, towards the end of the movie, he realizes, oh, I never thought this. It's fine. Life will be what it is. It's going to throw things at me. It's fine. So I went through and was like, he's either a Virgo or a Gemini. He shows some of each, but I ultimately picked Virgo because of Virgo. I'll explain this to you. I gotta scroll down. Oh my word. A Virgo is a person born between August 23rd and September 22nd. I don't give you the dates for the rest of them. That I do know. Virgos are known for being practical, sensible, and loyal. He's loyal in the sense he's loyal towards the job he wants. He wants to be a jazz musician. He wants to travel the world, though that's not what life has in store for him quite then. He's kind of practical. You know what he's going to do, and you know how he's going to do it. It's just there. He does become sensible with his thinking, as later on he's all like, this is just stupid. And he becomes sensible towards the end after he makes 22 feel so bad. And he's all like, that none of this needed to even happen. Just so he could get something that he didn't even know if it was going to work out or not. Virgos are also known for being perfectionists, of which Joe is. He is a perfectionist. He perfects everything he does, tries to get everyone else to perfect what they do. They can be single-minded in their pursuits of improvement. However, this makes them extremely dedicated to people in their lives. He is dedicated to fulfilling the dream of which his father had, and that was be a musician. I think his dad was a musician, a jazz musician. Oh, I can't remember. While everyone else is different, there are some key traits that will be made aware of when you come in contact with a Virgo. Knowing Virgo characteristics, they help you navigate the world if you're a Virgo, which sometimes if you're star sign, you usually don't act like your star sign, but some people do 100% act like their star sign or zodiac. So I felt that Joe Gardner was a cross between a Virgo and a Gemini. For Virgos, they say they're unreliable, but Joe's quite a reliable guy. He's there when you need him. And so I kind of kept the negative parts out because other than that, I couldn't find another star sign he would be more like, because Virgos get very anxious towards certain things that they want. Therefore, Virgos are very anxious. They do get jealous easily, which who doesn't get jealous? Everyone has that moment where they're jealous. I wrote out my reason too. I believe he's anxious for the fact he gets really upset when he thinks he's performing with Dorothea is gonna be a bust. But then gets anxious when he's there because he thinks it's gonna better his life instead of being a middle school band teacher. But in reality, he's helping a lot of kids achieve their dream of doing music, which is super cool in that aspect, of which he learns later on that life throws what it wants at you. And I love that movie. I just love the movie and I loved rewatching it. The next one, we have Terry. Terry is this little guy, sits and counts the dead people, counts the souls. There's an exact number in there, and I didn't write it down. But Terry likes control, and he likes to have everything in order. And if something's not in that exact order and not the same as it was the day before, Terry gets upset. He gets angered very easily. Basically, he is a control freak. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes being a control freak is a totally normal thing. That really doesn't change towards the end of the movie. So that's like the only characteristic I had from him. Other than he gets very angered when he can't figure out where Joe Gardner is, because he knows one soul's missing. He doesn't know which one. Till towards the end, he's like, oh, it's Joe Gardner. We got to bring him back. And then the Jerrys, which I didn't add to this list. They're for a different list. I didn't want all the characters to be from one movie. That's for a different video. But the Jerrys are like, we'll give you a second chance. And Terry's all against. He's all like, the soul counter. And then the jury's all like, just this, fine. He deserves a second chance. He's learned. And from that, he is a Scorpio. I am myself a Scorpio. I do like things in the right order. I like things to be perfectly. I like to control what's going on sometimes in situations, kind of like Terry does. I'm not super mean about it, but, Scorpio is one of the most intense and mysterious signs of the zodiac. Hell yeah. As an emotional water sign, Scorpio is a water sign. Scorpios tend to be fierce and loyal and protecting of loved ones. In this case, I was thinking more, he's loyal and likes to protect his job. He likes it to be just the way it is, laid out, same thing every day. He's loyal to it, and he's going to come back and he's going to protect it at all cost, no matter what it is. They tend to be very possessive and jealous because they feel often as though they need to protect people. In this case, his job. He does get irritated, not so much jealous, because he doesn't get jealous. Joe is gone. He gets mad that he's gone, though. I don't know if Terry's a boy or a girl. Might be a guy, might be a girl. No. I put he. I don't know why, but it's just what I felt at the time. And I just wrote it down. I was also tired when I was finishing watching the movie. Sometimes Scorpios can be controlling and manipulative. He does try to manipulate the Jerrys. He tries to get them to keep Joe and be like, this isn't right. You can't bring him back. We need to keep him here. And, be it to Terry to try to keep everything in order. The Jerrys are basically, they're all like, this is cool. And we're here to help you push you along on your journey. So next we have 22. Now, in the beginning, 22 is very snotty, and she doesn't really like the idea of being on Earth. It disgusts her, and it's more the fact she's afraid. She's more afraid than anything else. She does collect random objects. When they go into this box, she has an entire collection. And it's the cutest thing. And she sits there. She has a bunch of stuff on the wall. From every mentor she's ever had, she has them on her wall. And she has little random objects from random people. She likes to collect things. It's her hobby. She does like to collect random objects. She does help Joe get to his body. She doesn't have to. 22 doesn't have to. 22 doesn't have to be like, I can bring you to Moonwind, I think is his name, and he can connect you to your body. 22 doesn't have to do that, but she feels she needs to help him. 22 ultimately wants to help him because 22 wants to see him fail, and she thought it'd be interesting. So towards the end of the movie, after Joe gets in the cat and she gets in Joe's body, she realizes Earth isn't that bad of a place. She lightens up to it, and she learns to live, causing her Earth badge, which she could never get to turn to an Earth pass. And 22 does get upset when Joe tells her, because 22 is in his body. It's the only reason she got her Earth pass, and it's not true. 22 didn't get it because of that. She learned to live. And I felt this 22, she mostly fit in with Libras. Now, Libras are diplomatic. They are naturally peacemakers and are experts at being tactful and diplomatic in their relationships and groups. They choose their words carefully and aim to find common ground with as many people as possible. And I felt she fit that for the fact when she thinks he's Borgenstein. 22 goes, you don't have to stay. We'll pretend we worked on it, because she's had so many mentors that have been like, you're not cut out for this. And she's not willing to sit there and fight with him. And she's like, we'll just wait. You can go to the great beyond. Give it a few minutes, Jerry's will be here. And ultimately, that's where I felt she fits that. It, and she's nice. She's not being mean to him. She doesn't want conflict. She's just, and she goes and helps him. They are fair. They have a strong sense of justice, and they want to make sure everyone gets heard, and are passionate about making sure that things are balanced, especially when it comes to a group event. In this case, I can't remember. 22 and Joe, they're in this big crowd of people, and she tries to keep her emotions contained for the fact that she's never lived and she's never actually felt true emotions. And when she's in that big crowd, she actually does get really scared, and she finds herself in one corner of the city and finds that she loves pizza. And she does try to make Connie, I think is her name, feel much better after she comes over to Joe's thinking she's talking to Joe, doesn't know she's talking to 22. She never fixed that out. But 22 tells Connie, why would you just give up because someone said something? Because Connie was going to give up music because everyone in the class was all like, yeah, it's not good. So she sits there and she wants it's a sense of justice for the fact that you can't give mean people what they want. It says they're idealistic, which they prefer to look on the bright side of, which 22 doesn't do till the end. In the beginning, she doesn't see the bright side because no one would really sit there with her and tell her about the good side. The good side of anything. Everyone was all like picking the bad stuff about her out, which wasn't nice. But she does figure that out towards the end. They try to see the best in all people in any situation. She does try to help Joe. She tries to show him the best side when they're getting towards the end and Moonwind wants to put them in their bodies. She runs off because she doesn't want to go back to the youth seminar, and she doesn't want to be taken back because she wants to be in the happy place and she wants to be happy. And Joe, after that, made her feel really sad, which comes to the next part, where some of the negative traits are self-pitying. She does put self-pity on herself, but more of the fact because Joe upsets her to an extent. Joe tells her, like I said earlier, that she only learned to live because she was in his body, which is not true, which ended up making her feel so bad about herself. She became one of the anxiety monsters, which you see earlier within the film. And it shows that people can't get over their anxiety. So they become these big monsters that trap you in that you don't know how to escape from without someone else's help. And that's kind of what Moonwind and his little peacemakers, that's what I'm calling them. I don't know what they're actually called. There's Wind Dancer, Wind Dancer, Moon Dancer, Wind Maker, something along those lines. But they help fight the anxiety monsters. And in order for that to happen, Joe had to help her fight the anxiety monsters, which ultimately she learns to get over. And then they're very clever, which in the beginning, it's shown she is a very clever individual. She knows a lot of things. She's not dumb, but she's very smart. And it says they like being one of the most social people. She knows everyone. That's the only thing I could think of is she knows everyone there. And she's one of the most social souls. Social soul. She's one of the most social because she's been there for so long. It says they're indecisive. I can't remember a scene in the movie where she's indecisive, but I wrote down every single one of the negative traits for this one. I don't know why. I think I misclicked, but they say they're non-confrontational. The only time she gets into a confrontation and irritation with someone is when Joe tells her that it was him that caused her to get her Earth Pass, which upset her. And even then, it wasn't that big of a deal. She told him to go away and she didn't care. And that's about as confrontational as it got. And then she got with the anxiety monsters, and Joe had to show her that it was fine. She learned to live and gave her her Earth Pass. And then that's when the Jerrys gave him another chance. They realized that he learned life throws things at you, and you can't control everything, and taking people down because you're mad is not the best option. I just explained my entire thing. Next, we have Merida from Brave. I love Brave. Merida, rather than striving to be a proper princess, a proper Scottish princess, she strives to be anything but. Her mother wants her to be the proper Scottish princess, and she does anything to try to make it so she doesn't have to be that. And she goes through to a witch and goes, "Yeah, change my mom. I don't want her the way she is. I want you to change her personality," is basically what she was saying. But the witch gave her a cake that turned her mom into a bear. So she was basically going to ruin someone else's life in order to get what she wanted by mistake, though she didn't know it. But then she has a whole change of heart and so like, I don't need this. My mom can't stay a bear. And honestly, it's what you would do for your family. You wouldn't want them to stay a bear. Her little brothers end up turning into bears, triplet brothers. Because they ate the cake because she leaves it on the counter. But she strives to protect them. I don't need that. I got notification. But she would do anything for that bit of freedom she did get. But at what cost was it to get her freedom of not being a proper princess? Is basically what the movie was saying towards the end. It changed from that. And the mother realized, wow, don't have to force her into marriage, which was the entire thing. But Merida ultimately learned, it's okay. Reasoning with people is a lot better than getting a spell cast on them that turns them into a bear. And with this, I felt Merida was an Aries. Aries are passionate, motivated, and confident leaders who build a community with their cheerful disposition and relentless determination, which are sometimes uncomplicated and direct in their approach. And they often are frustrated by exhausting details and unnecessary nonsense. She feels being a princess is pretty nonsense. She doesn't want that, but she is strong in her opinion and passionate about being a leader of her own kind, which she does end up getting, which is awesome. They are strong leaders, of which she does prove she is a strong leader. She sits there and protects her mom, even though the dad didn't know the mom was a bear. She could have put herself in a serious, dangerous situation, but she did that for her mom. And she showed the leadership as she led them to see that the mother was the bear. So she took control of that situation they had there. And she ultimately helped them defeat Mordu, which was the bear that they thought the mother was. They have a bunch of self-confidence. She does. She has confidence. Really, they don't touch on the subject of not having self-confidence. They have positive energy. Towards the end, she lets out a bunch of positive energy, but towards the beginning, when she's around her mom, she sticks more with the negatives because she's mad that her mom won't ease up on her for being the princess, because the boys, they're boys, and they were going to be princes, and princes could have weapons. They could do what they wanted, but the princess had to be ladylike. She couldn't have weapons. She couldn't play with a bow. but her father gave her a will when she was young, and her mother let her have it, and stuff like that. But towards the end, she gets a bunch of positive energy. They're brave. She is actually really brave. She fights Mordu along with the others. Um, she protects her mom because they all had bows. This is the part I failed to mention. They were all surrounding him with bows, and had one of them let go of the bow, they could have practically killed her, which is a dangerous situation to be in. It says they're creative. She's only shown to doodle once. And the mom's all like, princesses don't doodle. Oh, what else does she do? I don't know. I imagine she's pretty, oh my word, creative. One of their negative traits is selfishness. She does get selfish when she wants the freedom. She doesn't want to get married. She wants her mother to call everything off. And that's when she goes to the witch and's like, yeah, this will benefit me in the long run. And really, it doesn't. It brings her closer to her mom. And that's kind of why I felt Merida was an Aries. Next, we have Cancers. Cancers are known for their loyalty, their emotional depth, and their parenting instincts. They are intuitive and imaginative, shrewd and cautious. They're protective, sympathetic. And on the other side, they are very moody, overly emotional, which is never a bad thing, and clingy and unable to let go of their control. They are creative and they have a bunch of loyal emotions towards people. I gotta use the mouse to scroll down because it's not working. They're faithful, they're loving and caring, they're intuitive, tenderhearted, very, very, very clingy. Now, for this role, I felt it was Joy from Inside Out. Inside Out is a movie where you have joy, anger, sadness, disgust, and fear. All your emotions. Basically, the 5 important emotions. And joy is the emotion for happiness. And I felt that Joy was a Cancer because she becomes very clingy to Riley. She wants to be the one that controls Riley's emotions. She wants her to always be happy. And she's like, no, there's no other emotions unless it comes to vegetables and you don't like broccoli or whatever. She's tenderhearted. She's not mean. Um, she is loving and caring. Within the movie, she's very loving and caring. She tries to do what's best for Riley, which she thinks is best. But sometimes she tries too hard. And towards the end of the movie, she learns that it's okay to not always just be a happy person. Sometimes you can have other emotions and then it's just fine. You don't always have to be happy because in the movie, Riley moves. Her dad has to go to work. She moves such a far distance. They live in Minnesota and moved to San Francisco. And that's far for her. She misses all her friends. She misses everything that's going on. And Joy tries to keep her this happiness when really inside she's not probably that happy because, change is hard on kids. She's 12 in the movie. Or 11. I think she's 11. But moving would be hard on an 11-year-old. And, towards the end, Joy's all like, yeah, she can have other emotions. Next we have Leos. Leos tend to be warm, passionate, and dynamic. Leos are also strong, brave, and ready to dominate anything they come in contact with. And then it tells you the myth of the lion, which I didn't put all that in there because I'm not really into Greek mythology. Sorry if you are. They're creative, faithful, charming. It also says loving, but for this character, they're not as loving except to this one person. Oh no, I read the same thing. I scrolled up. Okay, see. That's what I thought. That's not there. They're strong, brave, and ready to dominate anything they come out of. They are loving to certain people. She is loving and caring to this one person. I should get to who it is. Um, they can be very judgy and selfish, and they don't really like anyone else around their people, their little group of people. And for this role, I felt it was Mother Gothel from Tangled. Now, I felt Mother Gothel was a Leo for the fact she doesn't think twice before taking Rapunzel, where she feels her beauty is gone, and that's where the selfishness comes in. And she also lacks a sense of friendship in which some Leos have. This is why I said in the beginning that none of these characters have to define you, and neither does your zodiac sign. But yeah, um, she has a pursuit for beauty which is in vain and selfishness. Um, and as you later see in the movie, she has no limits when she wants something. She is willing to give Flynn Rider back in order to take Rapunzel home so that she can't figure out she's the princess, of which she does. And then we have Sagittarius. You guys are going to love the answer for this one. Now, Sagittarius are optimistic. There wasn't much for this one. They don't really have any negatives, but they're hilarious. They're fair-minded. They're honest and intellectual. They are spontaneous and fun, usually with lots of friends, or are perhaps one of the most conversational. So now, I felt Rapunzel fit into this. She's very optimistic. She's very funny. She's an honest person. She tries to be as honest as she can. The only time she really lies is when she lies about Flynn being in the cupboard and that she's not going to go see the lights, because she does. She goes with Flynn. And she's willing to make everyone else happy. And if they're happy, she's happy. But at the end of the movie, she learns to make her own choices and that someone else can't define what you do. So it's more of their trusting and their love for freedom. The love for freedom is what mostly caught my eye. And I was all like, oh yeah, that's Rapunzel. But basically their selflessness. It sometimes is too much. So for Rapunzel, her selflessness almost gets her taken away by Mother Gothel just so Mother Gothel can use her hair to keep her young. Because when Rapunzel's mom, the queen, was pregnant with her, she got very sick. A drop of sunshine fell into a flower. This flower, if you sang a special song, could make you young. And this made the queen feel better. The flower, put it in a cup. The mother drank it. Mother Gothel knew about this because she would sing the song and then found where Rapunzel was because she figured, the child of the king and queen, because the king's guards came looking for it and trying to use Rapunzel. And Rapunzel just grew up being super optimistic. And she did long for her freedom because she wanted to go out into the world and Mother Gothel wouldn't let her. But she ends up going, and then at the end of the movie, she finally makes her own decisions. So like, fine, I'll heal him, and I'll go with you. And after that, after Flynn cuts her hair, Mother Gothel dies, but Rapunzel gets to make her own decisions. She doesn't let anyone else run her life for her, which ultimately I thought she was Sagittarius because, the entire thing of being optimistic, being fair-minded, being very honest and intellectual. She's a very smart girl, and all of that kind of just represents Rapunzel. She's spontaneous in her emotions because there's that little montage of she's like, I love this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I ran out. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I left this tower. That's awesome. And then she's all like, oh, but Mother's gonna be so upset because she thought Mother Gothel was her mom. And that's why I chose Rapunzel. Next, we have Taurus. The rest of these don't have very much because I couldn't find very much on them. So Taurus, they're determined, they're ambitious. Some of them are materialistic. Taurus are famous for being very stubborn. My mom is a Taurus, and she's the stubbornest person I've ever met. Love you, Mom. Um, they're a bit of a dark horse when it comes to the star signs. And I felt Tiana from Princess and the Frog best fit Taurus. She's one of the most hardworking, but she's working towards the restaurant and she fits her entire life and says, I won't be happy until I have the restaurant. The restaurant is the material. And she works for that. And she thinks her father will only be proud of her if she gets that restaurant, which isn't true. Her father would have been very proud of her. Her father dies in the beginning. Not on screen, obviously. It's intended. It's put in there that he dies because the mom gives her dad's gumbo pot and blah blah blah. You guys gotta watch these movies. They're actually really good. I love all Disney and Pixar movies. But I lost my spot. She just tried to achieve that one goal, but then the voodoo guy, Dr. Facilier, is all like, I'll give you your restaurant and just give me the necklace back. That's what had Prince Naveen's blood in it. Prince Naveen basically gave his rights to Dr. Facilier. And so instead of doing that, Tiana risks staying a frog forever and not getting that restaurant in order to save Naveen. And the thing with Taurus is Taurus are going to do anything to protect their family or loved ones. They will do anything, whether it's beat the heck out of you or break your necklace so you get sent to the Shadow Kingdom or death, which Tiana does. Next, we have Pisces. My sister Kansas is a Pisces. Pisces are known for being very emotional and empathetic. They are the most empathetic of all the zodiac signs. They feel the most sympathy for you. They feel anything for you. And they will do whatever it takes to make the people around them happy. They are artistic and use vivid imagination to think up what others wouldn't. So this leads to them being very generous in nature, makes them easy to be taken advantage of when they just put themselves out there as the selfless type. I had a hiccup. Pisces can even become very emotional and closed off if they've been hurt before. But in general, Pisces are compassionate and thoughtful and very well-rounded individuals. For one thing, I thought that the one that fit this most was Alice from Alice in Wonderland. Alice is, I think, a Pisces because her world, it's imagined. And Pisces are the most imaginative, right? So therefore, only a Pisces could think of, I play it in quotations because anyone can have a good imagination. But if Pisces have the best, Pisces is the only one that can come up with crazy world with caterpillars that are huge and you're so small. So they look gigantic when they're only exactly 3 inches high. And I just felt that Alice uses her imagination and it is the craziest thing in the world. And if Pisces are the most imaginative, she has to be a Pisces. She's willing to make everyone else happy, which I can't remember. When she does see the rabbit in distress, she doesn't get upset when he's all like, Marianne, and she does at first, and she's all like, well, I'm not Marianne. But she goes and looks for his gloves anyway. Other than that, I don't know where else anyone would need to be happy. She does get quite upset after she gets lost, but she does try to make the best of it and be like, you stay here, someone will find you. And then she gets more upset because she's all like, who's going to find me out here? And then the Cheshire Cat comes along, and then the Queen of Hearts, and then all this to realize she's dreaming. So yeah, I felt that she was a Pisces. Next, we have Aquarius. My little sister Nessa. She's an Aquarius. They are progressive and independent, intelligent, unique, and idealistic. They're the ones you would want to be around the most. They are the element of air, the same as Geminis and Libras. Like air, Aquarius do not have a single clear shape to their emotions or anything, and they seem to defy categorization, and they are very patient. Now, for this, I felt that Quasimodo would be an Aquarius. He is one of the kindest Disney characters. He's so sweet. I love him. He's reliable, and he becomes faithful friends with Esmeralda, especially when she needs it. And then he falls in love. He's very patient and takes a lot to see him angry. Especially when it comes to people he loves, like Esmeralda, when she's being hurt or being chased down by what's his name, Jean Claude. He gets very upset and goes to save her. They're loyal friends, of which he is. He's a loyal friend to Esmeralda, and he throws out all the famous Aquarius traits. Therefore, I thought he was an Aquarius. Last, we have Capricorns. Capricorns are ambitious, very disciplined, although they can sometimes be pessimist. They can be pessimistic is what I was trying to say. I couldn't get the word out. Um, this also means, however, that Capricorns can hold other people to incredibly high standards. And because Capricorn is connected to Saturn, as they say, a symbol of restraint and restriction, the Capricorn's personalities can at times seem distant and emotionless when they're really just hiding all their emotions and everything. Therefore, it's important to Capricorns to occasionally relax and get in touch with their feelings through activities such as meditation, or in this case, going back to her family's farm to help sell carrots. So I thought Judy Hopps from Zootopia best fit Capricorn. She prepares her whole life to pursue a dream. She's told she can't be a cop, and she's all like, "No, I can do this. I can do it." So she's 9, has this dream to be a cop, and everyone's like, "There's no bunny cop. She can't do it." She's like, "I'm gonna have to be the first one." And she does, and she follows her dream. So when she arrives at the school, she puts all her effort into trying to be better than her colleagues, so she has a better chance of becoming a cop. And because she's so small, however, they tell her that she might not be able to do it, and she doesn't let that stop her. And she goes, she's determined, just like Capricorns are. And there's nothing in her way that would stop her from what she wants. And with the being determined and putting people at high standards or a pedestal, she thought that the lamb, Meriwether, is that her name? Um, the lamb, sheep was the best thing put her on this pedestal. She was awesome. She's one of the people that would let her in to use the cameras. Turns out she was a bad guy and does anything in her power to get her out, just like she does the lion, Mr. Lionheart, just to protect people she loves, or in this case, her friends and her family, because it would ultimately affect them. Of which she does for Nick and her mom. And then she finds out that these flowers, people are injecting other animals with flowers, the predators. And they're flowers called night howlers. And they turn people savage. Not like, oh, you're a savage, like bad savages, like rude and totally unable to deal with. But and she finds a way to fix that, which she does. And just like Capricorns, they're going to do anything to protect them. Now, the one thing all of these star signs have in common is all the star signs are awesome, and all of them, no matter what star sign you are. there's that point where you're going to do anything for your family, which is one thing that ties all these together. Yeah, they have different traits. They act different. One person doesn't act different. But in reality, when it comes to anything, anyone will do anything for their family. Right? That's this list. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!